All right, everybody, welcome back to Bald and Bearded. We're back on the mystery Jeep, abomination Jeep. I don't know, Will, you're down there on
it's
the
like, all I know is I feel like I'm in the multiverse where Jeeps actually don't do Jeep things.
well, so looking at that caliper and rotor, what's your first thoughts? Do you think anything's gonna, well, it doesn't look like that's free.
Well, we found the issue with moving it.
Yeah, do you think
But-
anything's gonna break free easily?
Well, I did this one like that.
Oh,
And, I mean, we sprayed it with freeze off, but, I mean, freeze off works, but dang.
I mean, that looks like it's coming free pretty easy.
Yes. I mean, I've had clean calipers take more effort. Well, but what we're hoping is people to popping this off, and Jake's gonna hit the brakes, and hopefully it's gonna compress. I didn't bring my C-clamp, sadly, to compress it in, but it should go out a little bit.
I might have one in the garage.
Okay, he might have one in the garage. Cool. I'm not sure. If you don't know, with Jake's job, he has all his tools at work, so I usually bring mine over, and I did not think about I didn't think this was going to happen, okay? Let me look at that. That's been sitting for 20 years.
I mean, that looks brand new.
Yeah, I mean, the zinc's still on it.
Yeah, that's
plating.
kind of impressive.
Oh my goodness. I mean, if you see the brake line, we're replacing the brake lines, but we're not doing that today because we're still waiting for them to come in. But still, like, this should not be this easy. And I'm only using a wrench instead of my socket for this one just because even with the extension, oh, I mean, it kind of works. It's just a little easier, everybody. But yeah, I don't understand this Jeep at all anymore because it's working out way too well.
Everything's actually coming free.
Like, this honestly is like these, it's honestly with the brake pads amount on here, they got really good life. It's like this person before they parked it, they had just done all the brakes with like new hardware and everything. It's pretty wild. I mean, we really got lucky because we are going to get another Jeep. I'm going to get a 6-cylinder and show you all how to cheaply upgrade that to bigger gears by using certain other Jeep parts. But I guarantee we'll be back into the normal life of Jeeps, which means everything has been mudded, salted, sand in it.
Nothing easy.
And nothing will be easy. Everything's going to break. And we're going to have to replace all the bolts.
So, how were the tires coming off for you?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. As you can tell, we took off the tires. I kicked them, and they came off, which usually it requires a sledgehammer. And our experience of, I think, I've owned one Jeep. Jake's owned about 15 since we've known each other for the last 20 years. And yeah, sledgehammer was our friend. That's why we both own multiple sledgehammers due to your Jeeps. Trust me, and when I get the other Wrangler to flip, you're just going to see me in the background getting a big sledgehammer to it because the tire won't come off because it's welded to it. That's what's going to happen.
So, Will, if you were to acquire this Jeep,
Like this particular one, 4-cylinder.
let's say you pulled this Jeep out of a backyard, what would you do different that I've done so far? We're not talking money, not an option. Let's just.
Oh, money not an option. Like, what would I do? Like, first getting, I would do a full tune-up like you did. You did all that right. I would check all fluids. You should, if a car's been sitting for a long time, you know no history of it, check all the fluids before you turn on, which is what Jake did. Because you want to make sure there's oil in it. You want to make sure there's oil in the diffs. And if you don't know, with these Dana 30s and Dana 35s in the back, I mean, Dana 44s didn't really come out till TJ's for the for certain models. I think it was the Sahara, the LJ, and what's the Rubicon's got. The Rubicon's the only one that got Dana 44 in the front and rear. They always got Dana 30s in the front, but if it's not wet on the outside, there is no fluid. That is just, and that's one thing we checked was it, once it was moving.
Oh yeah. Flathead screwdriver back here.
It was my
Little gimpy there, buddy.
yeah. Jake hurt his knee sometime ago this week.
There you go.
Yeah, see? Yep, so all you're going to do is try to pry it. You can use a pry bar, screwdriver. And when they're stuck like this, they're a pain in the rear.
Would you like some W?
I might have it. Maybe not.
Well, I have some W. Let me look in the back of the Silverado. There may be a pry bar back there. There's some W.
Yeah, and then you just spray all around it. And you're hoping to get all this. And it's never fun, but it's necessary, everyone. Oh, like I said, check all your fluids, antifreeze, transmission fluid if you have a dipstick, big time, because you don't want to run it if it's low. It will burn. First, if it's an automatic, it won't engage. Brake fluid, it's not a big deal being low, but check to see how low it is to see if you have a leak. Ours, we just had to fill up and we bled it instantly, but using the brake pedal. Okay, got that.
Any luck?
Yeah, a little bit. On top, it's the rear. I mean, the bottom that I'm not getting.
Yeah, I'm looking if there's something.
I apologize, you guys see an elbow picture right now, but
You don't need that elbow.
okay. There we go, everybody. Yeah, if you see right here, I can't tell by the angle right now, but these are pretty darn good. And all it is these little clips.
Let's see if I got it.
I just pry these up a little bit and then manhandle them. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'm going to get a sledge. It's hard with the sledge just because it doesn't let you. It moves. And we are going to probably maybe get new pads. We're not sure yet. There we go. Out there prying a little bit. All right. Oh, come on, you. There we go. All right. So like I said, I mean, life, we had a lot of good life, and it was, you can tell, see how even they are? That means that these are sliders. These go back and forth. These are where it usually gunk up, but as you can see, they are working. So when it presses in, this is what keeps it even. Yeah. So if you see one side of these being really worn down on one side, these aren't greased up, they're sticking, or the piston is sticking. You just gotta work it out. We're good.
You want any sheet clamp?
I got a piece of wood to stop it, so you expand it. So how he's gonna do this is using a 2x4. I'm gonna tell him to hit the brake pedal. Let's see if it goes out. So in a minute, we're going to test that out. Yeah, I got a piece of wood to stop it. But that's how it's going to, but honestly, I think that it's just, they're frozen, and you just have to work them in and out.
All right, ready?
Yep. Hope I have a good view for you all. I apologize. It's going out easily. You see how it's pushing out, everybody? That piece of wood's going to stop, and Jake's going to tighten it up. All right, you're good. So just to let you know, you want that piece of wood there to stop because this will pop all the way out, and then you could break this rubber seal that holds it in and keeps the fluid in. But no, that thing worked perfectly. The other thing that I will suggest to people, it just got crud on it. There's no rips. and everything is if you're going to do the C-clamp, go to your brake reservoir and pop off the cap, because once you pressure that in, it's going to build up, and you just don't want that to compress, especially when you have plastic housing. You could crack it and it bursts open, then you're replacing that top reservoir. It's just something that we've always done, especially when we put new ones in. I never have to bleed, because I just compress this with the top of the reservoir off, let it push out. It might overflow just a little bit, not a big deal, and you'll be fine. But no, this thing is perfect. Perfectly flat right here. That's something you want to know. There's no dents or chips off of it, where it's gonna, I mean, it won't damage these really, but it's just something I always check the condition. I mean, these things look in great condition, but as you saw right here, that when you put pressure in there, push the gas pedal, I mean brake pedal, that's what happens in your car. And then when you release it, it will go back, and that's what these sliders do for you. If these are stuck, you just pop these cylinders off, which can be a pain, and re-grease them. There is, CRC actually has caliper grease, but honestly, use high temp grease, multi-purpose grease, you'll be just fine. It's just, it helps prevent the dirt getting in there and corroding this, and that's what will happen. They'll just stick like that, which they're not fun to deal with. Okay, everybody, well, we got a C-clamp here. Now you can use a piece of wood like you saw we used earlier, or a lot of times we'll use the old brake pad because we're going to replace that. I took the brake reservoir's top off because, again, I'm going to be, once I compress this and work it out, it's going to push that fluid back up there. And just remember one key thing about brake fluid: it's acidic, hence why it eats away. These go bad eventually, is because from the inside they'll swell up, and that hole right there, it will become collapsed. But yeah, just crank this in and go very slow, because I just heard it rush out, but for some reason the rear did. Yeah, I'm seeing the rear right now of the reservoir, but yeah, just nice and easy all the way back in. And then I'll have Jake hit the pedal, or, you know, for me it's Jake, for you, your kid, something can, any neighbor, someone help you out, but it's a little tough. I want to get this completely back in. I don't know how far these go in, Jake.
Should sit almost flat.
You would think. It's just being really tough.
That might be all the way then.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's going in. It's just from sitting, it's... Get it to at least that. That's pretty flat, but usually it goes in more, but man, it is really giving me a hard time. But that's better than what it was, and it worked out. And like I said, off camera, we're gonna work it back and forward just to make sure it works. But I mean, it went in and went back out with no problem, and those sliders are not having issues. And if you're going to leave these, don't leave them hanging, please. They will rip. Just honestly, you can use fishing wire. It doesn't matter. Just something that's strong enough, loop it through here, and just find a spot to hang the caliper, because you just don't want that going everywhere. But as you can see, it was the caliper that was holding this, because this is turning perfectly. I'm not hearing any weird issues with the half shafts. The U-joints in those. The bearing seems okay too, surprisingly. But I'm gonna do this on the same side, on the other side, same exact way, so y'all don't need to watch that again. But caliper is a caliper. It's the weird ones. If you've got 4-piston, dual pistons are usually pretty similar. But when you go to like the 4s, they got relief valves that are Allen wrench, star bit sometimes, where you relieve the pressure to push them down. You got to get a special brake caliper compressor for those. So just keep an eye out for those. Look up your specific vehicle if you got some fancy high performance calipers, but when it's just these big single ones, it's that easy.
Buddy, so we discovered a Jeep issue.
So as I was clamping down the passenger side caliper, it wouldn't go in, so I had to hit the brakes. It's not really a Jeep thing, we're just used to it with our Jeeps because of mudding and being in salt and going in the snow. But the rear passenger drum line, well, that gave. So we're going to show you all in one video how to replace hard lines. It's really easy, actually. It's pretty cheap. The most expensive part's going to be is the tool, because you want a quality tool. And just remember, with brake lines, they have to be double flare because of the amount of pressure in them. If you do not do that, you're going to have a bad time one day.
Unless you're on Pantera.
Yeah, true.
If you're Pantera, then it's different.
Yeah, Pantera uses gas line fittings. It's kind of weird. If you don't know what Pantera is, Google it and watch Vice Grip Garage. He got his dream car, and it was a Bell flare, and those are not meant for brakes. I don't know how that thing lived.
But so we're at a standstill until I get some more parts. But I thought I'd show you guys the new shoes going on the Jeep. We're gonna throw them on stock steel wheels. They're the largest tire that they offered on the YJs. It's not gonna be a big off-road crawler, but you know, it was a cheap, affordable all-terrain from Priority Tire. I purchased the tires for this Jeep and the Silverado from Priority. The fastest shipping I've ever had. I ordered these on Thursday and they showed up yesterday, which was Saturday.
So 2 days of processing and shipping, pretty much.
But this is where we're gonna leave it, guys. The Jeep's gonna sit here until I get the tires mounted, get some brake stuff coming in, and we'll probably have Will back when that time comes, and we'll make some brake lines, run some soft lines, bleed the front and rear brakes, obviously, maybe some wheel cylinders, and possibly bleed the clutch all at the same time.
Yay, drums, my favorite.
Oh yeah, you're excited.
I'm so excited to have some drums.
So until next time, make sure you like and subscribe. Really helps us out. We're kind of new on YouTube, not a big fancy channel with a lot of subscribers, but the people we do have that follow us, you guys help make this dream come true.
And also show you guys how easy this can be just to get a Jeep or any vehicle back up and running. We're showing you the basics. Get all your fluids fixed, leaks fixed, brakes, tires. Tires and brakes, don't ever go cheap on, please. We've done it, and yeah, we've almost died a few times.
Well, until next time, everybody, take them easy.
Yep, take it easy, everybody.